Hello and welcome to Nigeria, the road to 2019, a series of programs where Arise News places the audience and the choice at the heart of our coverage of the upcoming presidential elections. I'm Charles Aniagolu. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, all the news, comment and analysis that provide unrivaled insight into Nigeria 2019, including since the latest wave of political desertions in Nigeria began some weeks ago, political strategists have wondered why disaffected renegade politicians who defect from the PDP to the APC and then back again to the PDP can't simply jumpstart a major third-party presidential bid to take advantage of public disaffection with the APC and the PDP and give these two main political parties a real run for their money. We speak to one man who's helping to create something of a third force in Nigerian politics. Now, within the last year or so, dozens of new political parties have been registered in Nigeria, but the rules and customs of Nigerian politics have been so rigged with structural barriers that they almost certainly prevent any of them who make a bid for the presidency from getting around those obstacles. Apart from the fact that setting up effective party structures across Nigeria is an enormously big job, electioneering in Nigeria is a monstrously expensive business that few can afford. And even if they could, they probably still couldn't win, because so far there does not appear to be a mass movement of people across the religious and ethnic divide searching for a new political vehicle that they could turn into a mainstream, truly national party. Or perhaps there is. We'll find out in 2019. But on a state level, there are those who've managed to force a path through the tight thicket created by the political establishment, and their success holds out hope that perhaps in the not-too-distant future, a third party in Nigeria could possibly achieve a foothold at the Aso Rock presidential villa. One of those success stories would have to be the party known as the All Progressives Grand Alliance, or APGA, which has won at least 2 governorship posts in the southeast and has secured a number of seats at the National Assembly in Abuja. But inevitably, splits have occurred, and a faction of the party broke away to form the United Progressive Party, or UPP, taking with it one of the key founders of APGA, its former national chairman, Chekwas Okorie. Mr. Okorie went on to become the presidential candidate for the newly formed UPP in 2015. Well, that presidential bid failed, and today Chekwas Okorie is still arguably in political wilderness, though he may disagree, but he retains the position of national chairman of the UPP, and I'm delighted to say that Chekwas Okorie joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed. You look fresh. You don't look like a man who's been in the trenches battling sort of political fights and so on.
Thank you.
But thank you very much indeed for coming in. Why do you think it is so difficult to wrest political power on a presidential level from the two main political parties, the APC and the PDP?
Well, your intro was almost pointing out to that.
We'll want to hear it from you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're the horse's mouth.
I'm agreeing with you to a large extent. What has happened is that politics in Nigeria has been so commercialized that if you do not have a very large pocket, you run into difficulties. Outside of that, there is the imperfection, the rigging aspects, and it's because of the system that we have adopted that has made it so difficult for a popular candidate who is on a popular platform, political platform, but who does not have money to win. But if we have a situation where people's vote count, then I can assure you that all that narrative will change. There are people who are popular. There are people whose political parties have very, very, if you like, revolutionary agenda. that appeals to many Nigerians. But when it comes to the point of elections, and you campaign to the extent of your capacity and ability, and then you go for the election, somebody comes and starts buying the votes in a very open manner. We had seen this long ago when UPP was registered in 2012.
That's your party.
The second party I founded.
Right.
And we began right from the very onset to canvass for the introduction of electronic voting. Because we believe, one, it is one thing that will make votes to count. It will also encourage more participation. And to do this, we knew quite from the beginning that you will require constitutional change to have that done. The law has to be amended. But that's being
used now, though.
Pardon?
I mean, electronic voting is being used
It's
now.
not being used. The card reader is like half bread, that is better than none. But it is better, but we are still waiting for the time.
Yeah, but of course we know that in a lot of places where electronic voting is being used, there's also been the growth of cybercrime, where people now, I mean, electronically rig elections.
Yeah, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy, because if we talk about hacking and all that, you need to hack every polling unit. And it's much more difficult.
Well, you could hack the central collation.
No, but you see, this is where you transmit from the polling unit.
Right.
It becomes difficult because it will pass through all the various collation points on their screens to get to the central unit immediately. Okay, so it becomes difficult to control because you are not relying only on the final result.
So in those, or in the current circumstances, is it better to start small and grow bigger, sort of like your party, the UPP, building first in the cities and then the states? That's what your other party, APGA, did. Then moving power to perhaps more states, then National Assembly seats before the final prize, which is the presidency.
That would be that would be the wise way to go.
Right.
But here we have electoral laws and conditions for party registration that says ab initio you must have presence in minimum of 24 states or the federation.
Right.
So from the very, and that your officers must have federal character.
Right. So there must be a geographic as well as an ethnic spread.
That's it.
Right.
So immediately you get registered, you are compelled to look at the whole country.
Right. So basically, meanwhile, given those difficulties that you're talking about, what should disaffected politicians do who are inside those major parties like the APC and the PDP? And we've seen a lot of them carpet crossing, as it were.
Yeah,
I mean, should they organize and fight to take back their party from within rather than desert and defect?
Well, the beauty of a multi-party democracy is that you have options. Sometimes if you want to fight from the inside to get certain things corrected, you run into such difficulties that might even put your life at stake.
Right.
So rather than do that, you move on. You mentioned at your intro that I was not one of the founders of APGA. I founded APGA.
Well, that's being disputed.
No, it's not being disputed
because some people say that you founded it. Others say that Emeka Ojukwu founded it.
No. Leave that part.
And some suggest that Emeka Ojukwu, even if he didn't sit down and sort of do the nitty-gritty, the running around, the registration and so on, that he inspired the party. And therefore, to that extent, he founded it.
No. He was one leader I followed for almost 22 years.
Right.
And at the time I went for registration of APGA, he was a member of the MPP.
Right. So you attracted him to APGA.
6 months after the party had been registered. But
nevertheless, sorry to interrupt you. I mean, you yourself, if we could put it that way, because I mean, APGA didn't belong to you personally.
No, it didn't.
Right. So you turned coat and you deserted the party that you helped to found,
No.
which was APGA.
No, I can tell.
So it just seems like there's very little cohesion, using that as an example, in these parties, and perhaps too many egos and ambitions.
No, that was the point I was going to explain to you.
Which causes this perennial squabble and constant
No, that was the
defections.
point I was going to explain to you, and
Right.
I wish you would just give me a minute
go ahead.
to do that. When what I would call political coup d'etat, happened in APGA, we didn't just surrender because we had a vision that we wanted to protect.
So you were overthrown?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
And then we went to court. We went to the Nigerian courts.
Right.
We got to Supreme Court 3 times. And no court, including the Supreme Court, that ever pronounced that Chekwas Okorie was no longer chairman. They kept striking out cases
Right.
on technical grounds. After about 10 years, I mean, that wouldn't be the hallmark of somebody who turned court. You kept faith for 10 years in court, and you found out that you were hitting your head against the wall.
Right.
And because of the multi-party democracy we practice, we felt that we have to still pursue the same vision, but we don't have to fight and die inside one. And so we moved on to found yet another party.
Right. Well, if I go through all the most political parties in this country,
Yes.
I mean, your story could easily be replicated across them. Because that's why I said it's a matter of trying to contain
now let me tell you why my
all the
story cannot
egos
be
and the
replicated. Let me
ambitions
tell
and
you,
the squabbling.
we are only 4 Nigerians who founded 2 political parties
No,
in
no,
their
I
lifetime.
don't mean it in the sense of people who founded.
It couldn't be replicated.
Yeah, but
because
what I understand that. What I mean is the squabbles, the subsequent squabbles, when you're all in the same party.
Yes.
It's really about trying to contain the egos and ambitions.
Not
of people.
egos. If you have a vision, see, I put it this way all the
Right.
time. There are people who have vision form parties.
Right.
But those who have ambition join parties.
Okay.
It's not every person who has formed a party will use it to pursue a personal ambition.
Yes.
I didn't do that in APGA.
Right. Okay.
So, and even in UPP, I didn't do that until it was almost late. And then when the NEC took a decision that I should step forward and run.
Okay.
But having said that, I want to tell you that the multi-party democracy in Nigeria we have has helped to reduce violence in party squabbles. But a different situation where elected people jump from the platform they used to be elected to another platform has without any going to the legalese, I can tell you it has a moral question. However, the 8th Assembly that we have now has also approved laws to make it absolutely impossible for anybody to jump from the party that elected him into office to another one without automatically losing his seat. The only outstanding thing is that the president has not signed it into law.
Right.
And the moment that it happens, this will not repeat itself subsequently.
Well, that's very interesting. Stay with us.
Yeah.
We would like to obviously talk some more with you. You're watching Nigeria, the road to 2019. Plenty more still ahead, including more of our chat with the national chairman of the United Progressive Party, Chekwas Okorie. We get his forecast for the probable course that the upcoming 2019 election is likely to take. Stay with us.